Hey Parker, it's April 17th, it's a Friday. As for book club, my personal vote is for Game of Thrones because the new season started, or is starting. But I've also heard really good things about The Other Westmore because a number of kids in my AP Lang class in 12th grade had to read it. So on to the random topic of today's video. So I was reading Time magazine, and in the back it had an article about the prevalence of surgical masks being worn in day-to-day life it's written by Joel Stein. And he doesn't mention where he is in Japan, which that does contribute a lot. I'm assuming he was in like Tokyo or Kyoto. And so for the most part he talks about how many people he saw just in day-to-day life as a tourist wearing these surgical masks. It was just like, to stop spreading like colds or diseases, not like serious diseases, like rather than spread the common cold, you wear a surgical mask and keep your germs to yourself. The author eventually bought his own surgical masks to wear so he wouldn't be like out, so he wouldn't be like singled out. And so one thing he doesn't mention in this is how that for a lot of people, especially in like the younger street crowd group, the surgical masks are not quite such a practical measure for stopping the spread of germs, but also for like a fashion accessory. And to be perfectly honest with him, I didn't expect him to know about that. And then that got me thinking about the weirdness of J fashion or Japanese fashion in general, because I'm a pretty big fan of it. How weird it seems to someone who hasn't been exposed to it. But Japanese street fashion, mostly in the big cities, has become like a huge part of what's being almost exported. Like, you're on Tumblr, and if you're in a certain part of Tumblr, like that's all you see. Particularly Lolita fashion, which I'm not going to be able to explain in less than 5 minutes. Like, Lolita is basically girls who dress up in a fashion similar to girls in the Victorian era. And then I got to thinking about how weird pretty much any subculture is if it's not exposed to the masses. So Lolita fashion, which is, oh goodness, this is a very outdated magazine, by the way, so yeah, that's not really the current fashion right now. But this is in a Gothic and Lolita Bible. And so one of the things I'm really interested in is like the subcultures and how they willingly don't conform to mainstream expectations. But then it spread overseas, and girls began wearing their own stuff that they handmade, and I have never worn it outside. I've actually never assembled a full outfit, because like I've said, there's very specific rules, and it's not the most accessible fashion. Now, it's funny, one of the really weird misconceptions about this fashion is because it's so feminine and elegant and even modest, I've seen some people say that it's playing into the patriarchal roles in society, which I don't think is true at all, mostly because I'm just repeating an argument I've heard many times, but it makes a lot of sense, is that pretty much no guy wants a girl who's wearing a petticoat and a blouse and, is covered from neck and to her wrists and wearing like 3 petticoats, and we can go on all day, but it's not the typical fashion that you see when someone's trying to attract a man. Not that there's anything wrong with trying to attract a man or a woman. One reason I think I like both body modification and Lolita so much is you're not doing this for anyone else. You're doing it for yourself. And that's why they overlap for me, and that I'm so into both. And for example, here are some other very old representations of Lolita within the fashion magazines. I don't really know what the point of this video was. I hope I maybe told you about something weird that you hadn't known was a thing before, but it is. I'm sorry if this isn't interesting, because I know it really isn't to a lot of people. It just is to me, because I love it. It's so weird and amazing and beautiful, and that's how it goes. So tell me what you think about reading the Game of Thrones first novel for the book club. You can comment on the video or something, and then we'll know if we should, and I'll comment back or whatever, so we know if we should read that book, or maybe The Other Westmore or any of the other books. It's up to you. I'm open to reading any of them because they all look pretty dang interesting. I will see you on Monday. DFTBA.